the R Spot, or I should say welcome back. We've been off for a few weeks, but now we're back. And this week, we are going to examine an issue that seems to be of interest to many people. What is a relationship? Now, from what I've been reading and hearing from folks around the country, it seems that there are a whole bunch of things going on out there. Encounters, hookups, dry runs, drive-bys, booty calls, entanglements, and then there are relationships. Now, some of these are just fun times. Some are mindless, heartless actions. Some are pleasure-seeking activities. Some are attempts to create something more that just don't work out. But today, I want to make a distinction between a relationship and an entanglement, because more often than not, people get into a relationship that gets reduced to an entanglement, or they set up an entanglement believing it's a relationship. Let's start there. A relationship is an interdependent connection between two or more people. But today, we're talking about people. So the key here is the interdependentness. A relationship is a mutually agreeable connection between two or more people for a mutual benefit or sense of gratification. The keys here are agreement and mutual, okay? Grounded in a set of agreed upon foundational principles or boundaries that support and advance the agreements and the connection. The key there is principles. Now, a healthy relationship is one where basic human needs are met and advanced. Now, by human needs, I'm talking about love, honesty, support, respect, safety, and loyalty. Now, I'm not talking about food, clothing, and shelter. Those are basic human needs, but in a human relationship, a relationship is a connection, a set of agreements and principles that meet the basic human needs that are sought through connection with others. Now, when we're talking about intimate, loving relationship, it requires that and a few other things. Those things are commitment, intimacy, responsibility, accountability, compassion, forgiveness, shared interests, and compatibility. Of course, how we act these things out and how we hold these things, that's going to determine the quality and the viability of the relationship. But the question becomes, are you in a relationship or an entanglement? You see, in a relationship, both people are free to be themselves. There's no fear that what they're doing or doing what they love or being who you are or taking time for yourself will drive the other person away. In a healthy, loving relationship, neither person needs the other person to be or feel complete. Both people are self-awake, self-aware, self-reflective, self-referencing, and becoming more and more self-actualized. Their thoughts and feelings are self-referenced, and they are open to the love that's present, the flow of love, and the attention that they receive. In a relationship, it's about two equals celebrating who they are and sharing their identity and resources rather than needing something from the other person. So let's put that all together again. In summary, a relationship is a connection where the people are in harmony within themselves and with each other. We're talking about a healthy, intimate relationship. There are clear agreements about why they are together, what they desire to do and be together, and they follow certain principles to maintain and accomplish those things in a way that meets and advances their basic human needs. In a relationships, the people are tuned in to one another. They are relaxed with one another, and they have fun with each other. Oh my God, we forget to have fun in our relationship. Does this mean they won't have challenges, difficulties, upsets, breakdowns? Absolutely not. What it means is there are certain things that are built into the foundation that holds and supports them together. That's connection, agreements, principles, love, loyalty, support, respect, and safety. Now, let's look at entanglements. Entanglements look and feel very different. Very often, an entanglement looks like a relationship on the surface, but the key is what it feels like to the participants. Now, in an entanglement, you may love each other. You may spend a lot of time together. You know each other's friends and family. People will probably think of you as a couple, but you're not having a real relationship that is characterized by love and harmony. The main distinction between a relationship and an entanglement is this: the reason for the connection, the absence of clear agreements, the absence of foundational principles that support behaviors and expectations, and missing or repetitive violations of love, loyalty, support, respect, and safety. An entanglement is more often than not grounded in codependency, meaning the level of regard and respect is broken or missing. One or both person constantly put the needs of the other before their own needs, and they forget to take care of themselves, and then they become mean, resentful, and angry. Or where one or both people cannot see and does not acknowledge the other's point of view, the problems the other person has, the needs the other person has. In an entanglement, one or both people want their partner to meet their needs because they don't believe they can take care of themselves. And also, one or both people cannot see and will not admit when they are at fault. One or both people hold on to and act out resentments. Oh, that's huge in an entanglement. In an entanglement, one or both people feel rejected, abandoned, and lonely in the relationship, but they stay anyway. In an entanglement, one or both people feel inferior or inadequate to the other, and yet they stay. One or both people feel criticized rather than supported, and they stay and they complain. One or both people have difficulty expressing their thoughts and feelings, so they withhold them. In an entanglement where the people are codependent, the people involved have difficulty recognizing where they end and the other person begins. They tend to become totally enmeshed in the lives of their partner, taking responsibility over their affairs and their problems in a very unhealthy way. And here is the big issue. Most codependents are addicted to something, not a substance, but they are addicted to a pattern of behavior that creates the very problems that go on in the relationship. Now, some of this happens when people have been together for a long time. They just kind of sync up and they move as one. I'm not talking about that level of connection and harmony. When I'm talking about an entanglement, I'm talking about a dysfunctional, painful, inharmonious interaction that one or both people believe that they need in order to survive. Now, sometimes people think it looks that way because they're in love. Well, I want to make a few other distinctions, okay? Here's what entanglements look like when they're masquerading as a relationship. You keep having the same issue over and over and over. When you find yourself having the same old argument with your partner for the umpteenth time, that's a pretty good sign that your relationship is or has become an entanglement. You see, patterns repeat, especially from relationship to relationship. They indicate that you may have unresolved feelings and that you're creating a destructive dynamic with someone that keeps you from enjoying the love and the harmony. If you keep having the same argument, the same issue with your partner, and it never changes and it doesn't get better, check yourself. You might be in an entanglement. if you don't feel safe or understood, one of the clearest signs of an entanglement is that it's hard for one person to let the other person feel their feelings and tell the truth about it. In an entanglement, it seems like you got to shut down a part of yourself or behave in a certain way to get your partner's approval and acceptance. Or when you fear your partner's response to what you might think, feel, do, or say. You're not free to say what's on your mind. You are not in a relationship. You are in an entanglement. In an entanglement, someone always needs to be right. See, in a relationship, each person is aware of his or her role in the problem. And their priority is their own personal healing so that the relationship can grow. But in an entanglement, there are power struggles all the time. Both people are vying for the title of victim or victor. And therefore, if you're the victim, somebody has to be the perpetrator. And if you are the victor, somebody's got to be your victim. That goes on all the time. In an entanglement, it is just so hard when one or both partners refuses or resists taking their part of the responsibility for the issues that arise. Things will get hard and draining. And that's what entanglements do. They suck the life out of you. So if you have that terrible feeling right now that you're in an entanglement or that you've been in entanglements before, relax. It's completely normal. Most people have been in an entanglement, and a lot of them have been in many of them. You see, we all come to relationships with unresolved issues from our past. And we naturally look to our partners to make us feel good about ourselves. So it's always a surprise when we finally think we found love, only to experience more pain, more frustration, and more disappointment. The problem isn't that we've chosen the wrong partner. It's that we're not looking at the root cause of our participation in a relationship. So if you're in an entanglement, but you want a relationship, here's a few things you can do. You gotta identify your blind spot. We all have a blind spot, and that is the repetitive pattern of behavior or experience that we see everywhere we go. Somebody's always doing something to you. Somebody's always out to get you. You never get what you want. That's your blind spot. So get clear about that. And then get clear about how you got into this entanglement. What were you looking for? What were you not talking about? What were you not willing to ask for? What did you do in the beginning? What did you ignore about your partner? What did you deny about your feelings? Where did you not tell the truth, the entire truth about who you are and what you need and want in a relationship? You see, the key is recognizing your patterns, your unmet needs, and your patterns of behavior, because this is what poisons, pollutes, and causes a relationship to break down into an entanglement. Also know that you've learned these things in childhood or in some past experience, so you may need to look there. And if you need help, meaning counseling or therapy, please get it. Don't think that you have to do this all on your own. Here's step number 2. Make an agreement with your partner that you will both work on your pathological or repetitive patterns. When you recognize that you're in an entanglement, both people have to do the work. That's the key. Both partners have to take complete responsibility for what is going on. I know, you think it's them and they think it's you, but here's the reality. A non-codependent person is not going to choose a codependent person. We attract and draw to us what we are within, not what we say we are, not what we think we are. You are going to attract who you are. So when a relationship becomes an entanglement, trust me, both people have an equal degree of responsibility. Finally, you've got to end the entanglement by doing the work in order to transform it into a real relationship. Or you got to get out. Once you know you're dealing with an entanglement, you can make the commitment. And all of that energy that you're using to navigate all of the pain and the upset, you can use that to transform the relationship with very creative and loving solutions. Codependency can be healed. You can transform an entanglement into a relationship when both parties are willing to do the work. But when that doesn't happen, you may want to end it with the peace of mind, knowing that you now have the insight you need to create a loving, harmonious relationship in the future. So what is a relationship? A connection where agreements and principles are used to create and advance love, harmony, support, safety, and fun. And an entanglement, on the other hand, is a series of dysfunctional and repetitive patterns of behavior where one or both people attempt to have the other person meet and fulfill their needs. Listen to this twice. Listen to this whole thing twice and take notes, and I promise you'll get it. And if you think you're in an entanglement, you probably are. So make a choice. Hope this helps. See you next time.